Oh,
Come on in, your surprise, where the angel demon eyes. Ooh. Welcome back to another episode of PairONormies. We are your hosts, Steve
and Dan.
And tonight, we talk about, well, we don't really know what. We decided, hey, you know the best way to iron out the show? And Steve goes, and I go, on air.
I just looked at him and said, we don't even have an ironing board.
That's right. Like, Daniel, no one has ironing boards anymore. It's 2021. Oh, man.
We could steam it.
Oh, God. So, yeah, we're currently trying to continue to iron out this little show we have here, and we're doing it with y'all. It's funny, I have such a backlog of episodes of all shows that this is not going to be out. I mean, actually, you know what? I just realized there's no fucking rules. We could put all of these out right at once. Like, boom, here's what we have. On to the next one. Oh, I'm into the layers mindset. I almost looked at you and said, how have you been? How you feeling?
We can.
No, we can't. No, we can't.
Okay.
You're like, okay, we get it. He needs his safe space.
He didn't take his meds today.
Oh, what are we talking about tonight, Steve? Do we have any creepy tales? I got an idea. Before we do the thing you suggested, do you have any paranormal stories from growing up? Do you have any personal experiences?
Oh, what was it? I thought of something actually just recently that I couldn't believe I forgot, and I forgot it again.
Can you believe you forgot it now?
No.
You're like, well, now I can. Yeah. Something that happened that you forgot?
Yeah.
Because you've told us some stuff.
It wasn't anything like crazy. It was, again, one of those things that I wasn't convinced about by any means. I was just like, oh, it was weird. And it was, but it was on the scale of things that I've had happen that I consider odd. It was up there, but I couldn't believe it. I forgot about it, but now I don't remember what it was again.
Because you had told us a couple things that were on trial episodes that aren't making it. Yeah. Or the episodes aren't.
Yeah.
Because those aren't anything yet now. But
you've never had anything like weird happen, right?
No, not that I couldn't explain. No.
I mean, but that's the thing, is I can explain everything that I had happen too. I mean, it's speculation because in the moment I was convinced that it wasn't, my brain tricking me, but then obviously everyone's convinced it's not their brain tricking them when it's their brain tricking them.
Well, that's right. Your reality is all but that, a perception of whatever you're experiencing. If you think you're experiencing that, or that is what you're experiencing, you're not thinking it, then yeah, no one can tell you otherwise. I think that's why I'm such a skeptic, though. I grew up knowing that I would partake in the heightening of a group dynamic, I was feeding the group adrenaline, and I knew we were lying, but everyone else bought it. Like, they knew too.
Right.
I wasn't the only one privy to it, but they all fed off each other's shit. And the funny thing is that when I rehash this with the people I grew up with, they all believe it. I'm like, dude, I was there. I was part of the lie. It wasn't real.
Yeah.
And it's like, my sister believed to this day. What?
Oh, good.
My youngest aunt, way younger than her siblings. My mom was like at least 10 years older than her, I think. Yeah, like 10 or 11 years. She used to tell us all these, obviously as you get older, made up stories. And I made my sister call her on speakerphone because we had a screaming argument about the fact that she was making those up because Brooke believed they were real. And she's like, Brooke, you dipshit, of course I was lying. And it blew. You could just see Brooke. She wasn't even shocked. Her reality was shattered. She's like, what?
See, I was like I remember one of the houses I grew up in, my parents didn't tell us for years. We were getting ready to, it was not too long before we moved out, I don't think. They said, we used to have this ceiling fan at the bottom of a set of stairs, and there was, this chain had broken or something, or it was really high. So they had a piece of twine or something tied to it that went 3 feet down so you could reach it because it was real high. And I was going to bed one night, and
Did you hear that?
It's groaning.
Oh, something's angry behind me.
Is it your butthole?
Nate literally, Nate after the last episode of ours was like, "Did you shit yourself that whole time?" I'm like, "We're on leather and it's clammy." Also, disclaimer before you continue your story: it is currently 1 a.m. So we couldn't do this at a more fitting time. You know what? We could. We should do it at the witching hour at 3 in the morning. Yeah. Which him and I easily could because we're irresponsible and we'll probably be up. But
and one of our destination podcasts will do something special.
Oh yeah. We got to camp out.
We'll all dress up as witches, slutty witches.
You know what's funny is we are going to do that, except we're not going to tell him that we're not. So everyone's going to be there normal and the camera's going to be panning and then Steve's just going to be grumpy and just slut witch. You're just slutty witch outfit. You're like, I hate this show.
This is stupid. I don't want to go.
But I like that. I like the vibe of this whole like network collective, whatever that is being built here. That we're very candid with the audience. We are very much ironing this show. We don't know what this show is. I think we're going to find out what this show is with you, which is fun. And once we get these things, again, we're backlogged. Nothing is out yet. I mean, by the time you see this, there'll be things out. But right now, in our minds, we're still trying to work out the production end. It's like, at one point, I'd love to take comments and reads and see what people have. Get, if we end up shooting lives, getting people in to call in and talk about their experience with us and have us talk about it and try to weigh it out with them. That'll be a lot of fun. But when you see this, obviously this isn't the case now, drop a comment on this video. Let us know, like, if you have ideas, if like you hear the things we're talking about, maybe going to see in our state and others, and we're missing something, or you have a tip on something, let us know. Like, we're open to and welcoming to the experience. So what were you saying? You had a pull down like to an attic?
I don't even know why I brought that up, but no, it was just to a ceiling fan. And I remember I went to bed one night and I went to pull it to shut the light off and it broke.
Oh.
And so I just it was right above the stairs, so I just tossed on the stairs being a 13-year-old kid and just
went being an asshole.
went to bed. And my parents, I remember noticing the next morning that the string was gone. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, someone picked it up and put it away. And
did you have cats?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
That's
did
not
dog
the
eat
creepy
it?
part. Like a couple of years later,
I found it in my ass.
I was coming downstairs and I overheard my dad or my mom talking about something, and I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And they said, oh, we never told you guys because we didn't want you to be freaked out, but this night, the string was, and I was like, that was me. They thought it was like a spirit or a ghost that broke the string. I was like, that was me. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, it just broke and I just tossed on the floor. And they're like, oh, we didn't tell you guys because we thought you'd be freaked out. I'm like,
imagine that is your starting point. A ghost did it. Let's not tell the kids. How about even just ask? Right. Then think a ghost did it.
Did you break the string? Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's always
and then just
my
make
point.
Something up oh, it must have been the cat that jumped in. I don't know.
I might be the wrong or I might be the right co-host for this because I am such an insufferable skeptic. It's unreal. Yeah. But I think you know what? There's so much out there if you want people just feeding your prejudice on it. Like, you can find it. I think it's fun. I mean, I'm not going to be a dick about it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm enamored by the idea of it, but I'm super hard to convince.
Yeah.
Paranormal.
Yeah. I mean,
I love the thought of it.
I'd put all of my money that says that you get freaked out the most when we're on scene. I can't wait. Okay. Me and Nate have a money bet.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave you there to die when the ghost comes. So before you get to your list, I had a theory while we were driving home. I don't know why I thought of this. Did we talk about last episode, is it the Sabatis well? The Devil's Well? Is that in Sabatis?
Yeah, I think so.
The myth, if we didn't crash course, some buddies lowered their buddy like over 100 years ago, maybe even more than 2, I don't remember, down a long, deep well in, I think, Sabatis. You can check me on that. It might not be.
Do you remember why? Was he trying to get something? Or
they were just being
as
kids.
Okay,
trying to see what was down there. And they said they heard demonic noises, and when they pulled him up, he had aged exponentially, gray hair, and he looked like he was dead.
And he was never as himself again, like totally different. Like he was possessed by the...
So this is my idea. And of course, this is completely me, right? This is probably
he
wrong.
Hopped off and his friend hopped on. Somebody else hopped on.
He hired he had the old man. It was his idea. He hired the actor.
And he subtly coaxed them into betting him that get.
That's right. And then because he's such a good magician, like the Prestige, he lived that life. He lived in the bottom of that well. It's like, I can't come up. They think I'm the old man.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's still down there.
Right. No. So my idea was these urban legends and these myths grow over time. So my thought was they very well could have lowered their kid. The sounds, like being an audio guy, the sounds that come out of that depth and the way that would reverberate off its close quartered walls, how it's perceived from above to kids is going to sound out of this world. Yeah. Especially if the kid's freaking out, like, get me the fuck out of here. He's freaking out, screaming. And then what if he was under so much stress, he was so scared, because this happens, that not even then, like, they pull him up, everything's fine, he's really pissed off, they bring him back to his parents, they're all upset that they did that and whatever, and he gets gray hair. You ever hear that, when they get under such stress that their hair changes? And then over time, it changes from, he was never the same because he had PTSD and a gray patch, or his hair all grayed, lost pigment because he was under such stress, right? That's just a theory. That over time, that story changes from, right an hour after he got up, his hair changed and he was never the same, to he came up an old man.
And it could have been, I don't know, what year was this? Do you remember?
I don't. We should stop talking about shit we don't know about.
Because it could have been something where he got lowered down and then the rope broke and he was stuck down there for hours while the fire department tried to get him out. And then that was this, perpetuated the whole thing. But.
Right. But I mean, I see how those things, I was thinking about that. That's not going to grow no matter how much you play with it. And that's, what I'm talking about.
Another one.
I got to change sound effects too for each show, because that'd be cool. I'm recycling the same ones. Except we need this. We're going to get flagged for that the first episode that's uploaded. They're going to be like, you don't own that. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. I know that's a thing, a phenomena that happens. So I'm like, oh, that's what happened. And then over time, it gets skewed.
Or it could have just been
I mean, I hate to believe it just didn't happen, because well, then how does that tale arrive?
Right, it could have been something as simple as someone built up, this you insisting that, if you and I did that, you insisting that, dude, you've been weird since then, and then that over the next 3 generations grows to you telling your grandkids, oh, and he was never the same, and
you're right.
Your son tells his kids, oh, I guess he was never the same, he looked different and everything, and then it just.
Yeah, because I'm coming. I mean,
you can't underestimate, I guess, how much things can change by word of mouth.
Do you remember that game?
The telephone game, yeah.
Yeah, in grammar, in grade school, yeah.
Totally different.
Yep. But that's the thing. It's some of that stuff artistically is gold mine. It's looked at in the storyteller world and the author world, screenwrite world, whatever. There's that thing where it's a telltale sign that a story is based in some level of truth is that it's just way too weird and tight to just make up. Who makes up, especially back then? I mean, there's great storytellers, but who goes, he came up an old man, without some basis in reality that lends or leans that way.
The way you said that, it could be 2 stories mixed together.
You're like, I'm watching your midsection and I see some growth. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that weirdly because I knew we were coming back to do this, and I was like, what did we even talk about? And then I thought of that, and I was like, how have I not thought? I mean, that seems so obvious. But again, I'm making that up out of nothing. Right. It could have been completely made up.
I did remember one of the experience that I had that I said I couldn't believe I forgot. And
children, gather around close, get near the campfire, take out your walkie-talkies and your flashlights. I said flashlights to be real clear.
I was just going to clarify. It'd be messed up if you said, kids, take out your flashlights.
Yeah.
So I call this an experience that's being very generous, because I don't think it was anything. I think it was just.
And you haven't told me about this ever?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Good.
Maybe.
I'm excited now.
It's a very, very quick story. So
hey, real quick. Me and Nate are trying to decide, are these comfortable? I'm not comfortable in these ever.
I mean, it'd be cool to have something reclined and it was, yeah.
I mean, these are the standard, but God, the run is too much.
It wouldn't be bad to have a love seat and a chair.
You want to cuddle?
Love seat and a recliner. Well, no, I'm just.
Well,
thinking,
if things get spooky, right? I agree with you. We can cuddle. Yeah. What was that?
So,
I was thinking if we get scared, we can. What's that?
Under my leg.
Oh yeah.
I can it
That's
looks
right.
like he's.
We can cuddle.
Right.
Okay. And go back to your story.
Can you imagine the camera looking at us and I'm laying behind you. We're just spooning. I'm peeking over your shoulder.
That's the show. We shoot it from above, bird's eye, and we're looking up talking, but we're all 3-way spooning. Big spoon, middle spoon, little spoon.
And then at the end, we're just like, good night.
Give each other a kiss on the cheek and just go to sleep. Okay. Sorry. Back to your thing.
So yeah, I worked as a security guard in the mill, and the mill was built in, I don't know, 18 something. I don't know.
It's that old?
An old.
Oh, but they always updated it.
Well, the older one downtown there, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was during a shutdown, so there was nobody else in the mill. It was just me.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess I can't be completely sure. I mean, it wasn't a huge place. It was pretty big, but not huge.
Right.
But there could have been somebody there, somebody else there doing something. But there definitely wasn't. That wasn't what caused this. I do know that.
Oh, okay. I thought this was going somewhere. Yeah.
No, but so I was just doing my rounds, and I was in an old section of the mill that nobody really went in anyway because it wasn't used anymore. It was where they used to have some machines way back when the mill first opened, like some old antiquated stuff that wasn't used anymore anyway. And I just, long story short, we had to use like this scanner thing to like scan these little magnetic strips, I guess you'd say, like a credit card strip type of thing, and it would register in the device. Then you went down and downloaded the stuff into the device to say that you did your rounds.
Weird.
Yeah, it was a weird way of doing it. But anyway.
Old tech.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely at this point. But and as I did that and I turned to go down the stairs, I like thought I saw somebody go like walking across from like there was an elevator shaft actually, if I remember correctly, for product like equipment and stuff. But it wasn't in operation anymore. Walked from behind that to behind like this large roll. It's a big spool, basically a big wooden spool. But I didn't see that's the thing is I didn't see any like description or anything like that. It was just like a figure out of the corner of my eye. And so I like looked over and I was like, hello? Nothing. And I was like, nobody should be up here, even if there was anybody here. And not that they're not allowed to be, and so I was like, hello? Nothing. And I walked over and looked behind it and there was nobody there, but that was really it. But it was like,
had you eaten that day? A lot?
I
Enough?
have no idea.
Were you working a lot that week? Was that an overtime shift?
Well, that wasn't my full-time job, so it was essentially any time I worked there was overtime.
So you could have been tired?
Yeah.
I don't think you were sleeping. I'm just saying. I see shit like that all the time.
Well, that's the thing is like it's super like back then I was younger. I mean, I was only 18. So 18. So it was like that was uncommon at the time. I might have even been I was 18. And because you had to be. But like that was like I wasn't even convinced in that moment that I saw anything. I was like, I could have sworn I just saw
right.
But I was kind of like, gave me the chills, gave me the creeps, but I was like over it.
We got to stop talking about some of this stuff off camera too, because I hate rehashing it as new. Because I think I told you this. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. But my point was, I wonder how many things I've quote unquote experienced that I've shrugged off that a lot more like romantic minded people in this way would consider a scary thing. I've seen things out of the corner of my eye all the time. I've heard weird things I can't explain, but I don't attribute them to things.
Right. And like I don't now, but at the time it was just like looking back on it, I'm just if I was who I am today and I reacted that substantially to it, I'd give it a little bit more credit. But like back then, I also believed a lot more in other things that I don't believe in anymore.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like as your encyclopedia in your mind grows to your experience, you're like, I don't think that we're so much void of these experiences as we are kind of discerning of them. Like, what could it be other than a ghoul, gremlin, monster, whatever.
Well, it's like when you're 18, you've only understood that your brain can trick you for how many years?
Right, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Some people 0. I tell them no years.
Some people negative 25
That's
years.
right. Some people, you got to wait a little longer than that.
But yeah, when you're our age, it's like you've understood that for a long time. You've experienced it for a long time. You've had instances where you've been like, oh, my brain just was screwing with me and I could have sworn I saw blah, 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 but it obviously wasn't that. And you just understand it differently. And I think if that happened to me today, I'd be like, oh, whatever. And I just wouldn't have said anything, wouldn't have walked over there, would have just freaking walked down the stairs and been like,
no, if you're in here getting locked in, have fun.
Bye, click.
Yeah.
And then I hear, hey, don't turn that light off. I'm like,
oh, no, that was probably me too. Then there's the other flip side where you just like are oblivious to everything, but like someone talks to you, you're like, I do have moments of schizophrenia. Like, no, you don't. Like, okay, I might.
Like, no, you don't. What's that?
Steve, burp away from the mic.
That wasn't me.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I'm like, probably a ghost.
That's spooky.
Where's our action figure?
Gross.
Where's our action figure?
I don't know. Probably. Oh, no, I didn't get that. I get the other thing.
What? Oh yeah. That's right.
Give it time.
Yeah, that's right. We'll let it bake in. We need new things each time. So I wanted to say before we read our list, we should make a pact to hold accountability. Because again, it'd be one thing if this was going to be put out tomorrow.
Elaborate.
Well, I will.
I don't like being held accountable.
Yeah, neither do I. Because we, again, I mean, I'm say hold us accountable. This might not come out for a month, so don't worry. It's not like we're in a rush for time. But again, by the time somebody hears it, we should have already done an episode on site.
Yep.
So we are gonna make that pact right now to the camera and the mixing board that Pinky, promise yourself, that's right. That by the time, whenever that is that this is out, we will have already done the on scene. It might be being edited and whatnot, but it will be done, and we will have that out because we are realizing that we don't want to make carbon copy duplicates of shows.
Right.
You and I really want to get out and like experience some stuff. Like we said, episode 1, it's going to be fun to revisit the status of our beliefs on some of these things and our stances. That'll be fun. I think that's a cool edge to this.
Yep. I just, the frustrating part preemptively for me is that I really don't think I don't think anything's going to happen.
I do.
I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I think I'm going to be, I think you're going to be awoken to how skeptical I am because.
Take your time.
Yeah, it takes me a minute. I didn't sleep much today.
No, I know. Man, we should have not done this after we were at an event that took all night, and then meeting after that took the rest of the night, cruising back. I mean, it's late, which is no excuse. But again, that's kind of our thing. Out front, open, honest. We're with you. We're just hanging. We like that. I really like that idea. And actually, I didn't really get it. I'm a media guy by trade. It's all I've ever done. Mm-hmm. I never realized until I used these for that podcasts that it's like, it's a vicarious thing by nature. Like you kind of think we're kind of crazy like that. Like the podcasts I watch, I'm like, oh, they're my friends, and I'm just here for the conversation.
I feel like the vast majority of the successful podcasts started out by just guys that didn't care, and they were just like, oh, let's just hang out.
Yeah,
and I just like they had the idea to record it, and then next thing you know, they're like, why do these people like listening to us talk about nothing?
Dude, I think we had that. We had also we haven't talked about this, Nate or me alone yet. That we had done how many trials?
We haven't talked about this, or me alone. I haven't talked about this.
Yeah, like I haven't cleared this with inner me's. No, but we haven't talked about the fact that how many incarnations have these had until now? 12. Yeah. Different trials, different tests. I mean, and funny enough, I didn't, and I don't know about you, but I think I agree with your sentiment, and I wasn't there till now. Like I cared too much. And I wanted it to be some certain big production. It's like, no, that'll happen. Well, that'll grow. We need to gel into these co-host segments and see like where we are as a, collaboration. Yeah. And we'll get there. I think it'll be fun. Let's move to the list because you said that you would come up with a cool list.
Well,
again, for accountability, we can say this live and then we can cross it off as we visit. What happened?
What did I do with my phone?
Oh Lord.
Okay.
He's looking, it's literally on his lap. Could you imagine? Just face up.
So do I give credit to the site?
Sure.
hauntedrooms.com. This is Haunted Rooms America. This
Nice.
is haunted places in Maine.
I think I've actually heard of that. Didn't we look at this?
Haunted, because again, but
right. We looked at this, right?
Maybe.
Do you know how pissed
I don't
off?
remember the specific list. Well, maybe. I don't know. There was another one that was a good list, but it didn't like say the name of the place. It was just like a clever reiteration of like what happens there, and then it just described, this cemetery, and I was like, I want to know where it is.
Right.
So it might say the town or whatever, but
I think we looked these guys up when we were doing this, in the past. Anyway, go for it.
So the first one is the Maine State Prison in Thomaston, so the old prison, the one that's not in operation anymore.
And you never worked there?
No.
Do you know guys that did?
The old one, I think so.
It's all closed up and like not used for anything?
I don't know if they use it for anything. It's not a prison anymore, but I don't know if they use it for anything anymore or not. I think they actually tore it down.
That would have been a cool one to see, especially knowing it's vacant.
I don't know.
We'll check on that. We'll check on that.
Rebuilt this.
Because that could be a really cool one.
I think there are significant parts of it that are still there, and I think they just use them for other things. They might just be vacant. I'm not sure.
They might, depending on if you know anyone, we'll check on that because that would be a cool one to see if we can get into.
Yep.
All right.
The Strand Cinema in Skowhegan.
Dude, how much have we talked about places to go?
Yeah.
I've known that is haunted or like whatever. It's commonly referred to as haunted by tons of people around here, and I never thought of that. But I think John sold that, right? He doesn't. He just owns Farmington now.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Is it even a thing?
I think it is still open.
That one we're definitely going to follow up on. Yeah, and we could offer
do you
them
want me to
promotion in return.
read into it all what the
Sure.
okay,
Why not? Or
When-
paraphrase, whatever.
right. When the Strand Cinema opened in November 1929, the seating capacity was 1,000 for the one theater.
Let me give you some background. Hold on. And then you can get in, okay? I want to set the mood.
When the Strand Cinema opened in November of 1929, the seating capacity was 1,000 for the one theater. In its almost 100-year history, the Strand Cinema has undergone numerous renovations. Additional theaters as well as an apartment have been added to the building. Although the Strand Cinema has provided countless people with an opportunity to enjoy a live performance or a movie in later years, some patrons and employees have experienced paranormal activity. Some employees have experienced power tools that have been unplugged working on their own and shocking them. Other individuals report that a ghost or ghosts likes to smear paint on the walls of the building. Further reports say that a ghostly figure smears handprints all over the theater screens. In other reports, one employee who went to the basement to fetch some ice felt overcome by a spirit and was stuck frozen on the steps for a while before she was once allowed to move. Papers flying off the desks and markers tossed around, as well as strange sounds in the balconies and basement are other odd occurrences in the Strand Cinema. The wording on that's kind of
We
weird,
can't
but-
help the editorial structure there. But I really did know that. You liked your little sound effect? That felt like a little Reddit read.
Sounds like a lot of stuff that could be just
Stoned and high school employees. They're like, hey, you missed half your shift. Yeah, ghost paralyzed me in the freezer. I'm stuck there.
like somebody listening to his headphones while he's some girl listening to her headphones while she's vacuuming, and she just walks too far away from the plug and it unplugs. She's like, oh, must have been a ghost. You're 40 feet away and that's a 13-foot cord.
Dude, when I was younger and worked construction, do you know how many guys would have used that same excuse? Dude, I did plug in the battery into the charger for the drill. Someone unplugged it. It was probably a ghost. None of y'all did it? It was a ghost. And he just didn't plug it in. Like all the time. That one's really good though. That excites me because I did forget about that.
The other one that would be kind of cool that I think would be easy to investigate. It'd be hard to do a thing there, but it would be easy to get access to investigate is Mount Hope Cemetery in Bangor.
That's the one with is that the one with the boot?
They did they did Pet Cemetery there.
Oh wow.
The original Pet Cemetery.
You know that was a movie, right?
Yeah.
No, that's where people were buried, Daniel, and came back to life.
That's where pets were buried and came back as
Something else.
prehistoric dinosaurs.
Buried. Oh man. Okay, wait. Let's keep going. That was number 2.
So it's in reverse order. So that was 8, 7.
Oh, we're building up to the big one. Okay, good.
Mount Hope Cemetery is number 6.
Hey. How many are we reading? 8?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we don't need to read them all.
Well, how come you just casually throw up Mount Hope before you're going to read about it? We're doing a show here.
Okay, well, then
Okay, everyone, hold on.
Then I'll write about
Excuse
it.
me.
Just give me a second here.
Let me rewind this. Okay, we're back. Hold on, Steve, and tell us about Mount Hope real quick.
The Mount Hope Cemetery in Bangor, Maine was Bangor, Maine was established in 1836. Since that time, more than 30,000 people have been laid to rest in the cemetery. Mount Hope is not just a traditional cemetery, it's also the second garden cemetery in the United States. Mount Hope is roughly 300 acres in size and is not only a place where people lay to rest their beloved family and friends, but also features mausoleums and assorted memorials. During its history, Mount Hope was a location in the movie Pet Sematary by Stephen King. If being part of a horror movie is not enough to induce creepy feelings, the cemetery is home to countless soldiers who served in a variety of wars. People have seen shadows and felt an overall sense of unease at the cemetery. Other people who have made their way to Mount Hope have claimed to see ghostly figures roaming about.
I love it. I love it.
So,
What was the name of the site again? Because we're like reading their art in full.
Mount Hope Cemetery.
No,
the site.
yeah.
It's Haunted Rooms America.
HauntedRoomsAmerica.com. Go and check it out. And thanks for just thanks for the content, because we're just reading it for you. But I like this. I love these lists. And he, like we said, skeptics or not, this stuff is fascinating and it definitely interests you. And you definitely found a site that was a really good summary of some of these local places. So good on you guys. And check out that site if you want to see it more extensively. What is, Steve, number 5? And you don't have to read it unless it's really cool.
Lake George Regional Park.
Nah,
West.
I haven't even heard. I mean, we live here and I've never even heard of that. But we can check it out. We can check it out.
Yeah, and a lot of these are kind of, like a cemetery. Yeah, there's a lot of dead people there.
Well, that's right.
Tends to be.
Yeah, right. If you buy that,
not a lot of dead people there, you're not doing a very good job.
Change your business model. Start killing them. I mean, no. All right, number 4.
Wood Island Lighthouse in Saco Bay.
Is this the one with the girl with the piano?
Yeah.
Read it.
I don't know. I haven't read this description, but I don't know how apt it is. But anyway, in Saco Bay, Maine, sits the Wood Island Lighthouse. The original lighthouse was built in 1808 at the request of President Thomas Jefferson. The lighthouse ended up in a state of complete disrepair, calling for it to be replaced. The lighthouse that stands today is the granite tower that was erected in 1839. The Wood Island Lighthouse has a tragic and violent history attached to it. Based on reports, a murder and subsequent suicide occurred at the location in 1896. From the records, a man who was either a squatter or renting the space in the area shot and murdered a man. After realizing what he had done, he went into the lighthouse and killed himself.
Jeez.
Keepers who have lived in the Wood Island Lighthouse say that that unexplained shadows.
I thought it was unexpected shit happens all the time.
That unexplained shadows appeared, as well as an unusual moaning. Other reports say that sometimes locked doors fly open and gunshots are heard. To save the lighthouse keepers from dealing with the haunted light, in 1972, the old light was replaced with an automated light.
So that's not the one where the wife plays the piano, same song?
So the version of this story that I've read elsewhere and heard elsewhere was that... this is the one. There's a different one in Portland.
Yes.
In Portland.
Where the wife played the same song over and over. The husband took an axe to it, then her, then him.
Yeah.
And that established, according to the legend, that established the law that they have to have shifts in 2 people, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But I don't know about that. But it makes sense. I mean, an incident like that would tend to...
You would think that, some regulation would come in. He murdered not just his wife and him, but our beautiful piano?
Like
We're
he
changing
destroyed
shit.
the piano, murdered his wife, and then himself because he couldn't stand being out there alone. Bill, you're next.
Oh, and bring your whole family. All right, that was number 4.
Yes.
Okay, I liked it. Steve, you're doing good. I should have shut up so I could have cut these segments out.
Yeah.
With the little music. That's good. All right, what's number 3?
The Carriage House Inn in Searsport.
Oh, definitely reading this, baby. Here we go.
I don't remember much about this story, but the Carriage House Inn in Searsport, Maine. Captain John McGilvery had a Victorian mansion built in 1874. The mansion became what is known today as the Carriage House Inn. In its history, Carriage House was not only a retreat for people such as famous painter Waldo Pierce, it was also an army garrison. Today, people can come in and stay in 3 of the 13 rooms in the inn. The rest of the rooms remain off limits. People who visit the Carriage House Inn have stated they've experienced different paranormal activity. Expert paranormal investigators state there are, in fact, a minimum of 2 ghosts haunting the inn. One couple visiting stated that they experienced the sensation of someone sitting on the bed with them, which awoke them. The wife of that same couple.
What? Hold up. Pause the record.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
The wife of that same couple stated that she saw a woman with long hair dressed in old-fashioned garb combing her hair in their room. Other guests have heard knocking, music, and have smelled cigar smoke when no one was smoking.
Yeah, right. Again, someone smoking. Also, I can appreciate, spooky atmosphere. And let me tell you something. That is a great horror movie setting. You're just staying at this inn and it's kind of creepy. And all of a sudden you open your door and there is a woman combing her hair. Just chilling.
In their rooms. Like you just
that's what I'm saying.
In the middle of the night and you look.
Oh, yeah. Or you wake up, dude. Yeah.
Like
and she's like, and she tries to console her. She's like, what?
Like,
I just have to look pretty for someone.
Excuse me.
Oh my
She's like,
God, dude.
he's-
Excuse me. Like, yeah, excuse you. I'm busy. Like, what the? Okay. That was number 3.
He's just
Here we go.
Just a very rude ghost. Like you're like, excuse me, and she's like, just turns around and wings the comb at you.
Frisbee to hit your throat. Okay, that was 3.
Yeah.
Oh, these 2 better be good. You have one
I don't know
job.
much about these.
What was number 2?
Number 2 is the Museum of Old York in Old York. I think that's just York. But anyway,
Yeah,
I don't think there's such a town as Old York.
No, it might have been called that at one point, but no, we don't have to read it on that. But we, again, just because we're not reading these descriptions doesn't mean we won't check them out if they're promising. What is the big numero uno?
According to this list, and I don't know, it doesn't specifically state that this list is in order of, least to most haunted or least to most interesting, but the fact that it goes 8 to 1 would kind of imply that to me, I guess.
Well, yeah, I would.
Otherwise, they would just order it 1 to 8, and
Right, true.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So hopefully, you don't sound like you agree. This is a long intro in.
I haven't really. Well, I'll be honest. I didn't read all of these completely before.
Oh,
I did
right,
this,
right.
So I'm just kind of.
These are all in Maine. We're from
Yes,
here.
right?
I mean, you'd think number 1 would be obvious. I could guess what it is. Let's see. It could be University of Maine. I can't remember the campus that's like allegedly really haunted. It could be
Southern Maine is supposedly one.
Is it Southern Maine? It could be Nordica, Lady Nordica at University of Maine Farmington. It could be. Oh,
I'd be interested to learn the history of these buildings that causes these stories to make
yeah,
sense.
right,
Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah. Same.
Like,
What's
in
the
those
big one in
instances.
Maine? Like the big haunted. I can't remember. We've talked about it like 4 or 5
Well,
times.
supposedly, I think it's Bucksport is like the most haunted town in Maine.
Is that it? Time and temperature
'Cause
building.
it's one of the oldest towns there is because it was a port.
Is it none of those?
It's none of those.
Oh my God. Okay, what is it?
The Kennebec Arsenal in Augusta.
That's cool. Read that one, but I'd never even heard that was haunted. Is that the Armory? Right on Western Ave?
I think it's the
where the helicopter is.
The fort by the bridge, by Memorial Bridge, the fort down the.
Oh, the old one. That's all
I think it's
right on the river.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, okay,
There's like a stone
go
building.
for it. I like this.
The Kennebec Arsenal, Augusta, Maine. The original stone building located at the Kennebec Arsenal in Augusta, Maine, was constructed for military purposes following the War of 1812. When it was no longer needed to serve as a location to protect the coastal borders in 1901, the building made a shift from military usage to a mental hospital. Maine State Hospital purchased the property and expansions were made. The property was later renamed the Augusta Mental Health Institute, AMHI. Thousands of mentally ill adults and children passed through the doors of the Kennebec Arsenal when it was a mental hospital. There are countless stories in regards to the horrific treatment the patients who lived in the facility were subjected to. Some reports state that thousands of people died in the facility, only to be buried in unmarked graves. The facility officially closed its doors in 2004. Presently, access to the Kennebec Arsenal lands and structures is against the law. Prior to this, sightings of ghostly apparitions in the facility were common, as were unusual sounds and sometimes the cries of former residents.
Dude, AMHI. I can't believe we haven't thought of that. I didn't know it was the same place.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't realize that was part of it. I mean, unless I could be thinking of the totally wrong. It's probably not part of that fort complex. It's probably further down, because I know there are some very old buildings at AMHI.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a tragedy what the state did to patients there.
It was nationwide. It wasn't just the state. I mean,
really?
What they did. I mean, that was. Would they say closed in 1901 or something like that? So,
AMHI wasn't. They let people out of that. We were alive.
No, so it transitioned to that in 1901. But so you're talking. I mean, you're talking long time ago, 120 years ago. So,
but I remember
the tactics were very crude back then.
we have no
electroshock therapy, cold therapy, submerging people in water. I mean, all those things were real.
And a lot of those people, like you would imagine, and I'm guessing here, and I probably shouldn't, but you would imagine that they didn't really have family, or they would be kind of taking care of some of the patients that weren't as, know.
I think a lot of that back then, I mean, there's a reason why they treated those, people that were mentally ill that way. And I think it's because
no one would,
their family kind of just disowned them.
Yeah, right.
Like that was kind of what happened back then. I think that was the norm to some extent.
And that would explain the dumping bodies in unmarked graves. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, if you don't have a family that's willing to,
advocate
pay for
you.
a burial and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if the state doesn't do it, then
Yeah, it's tough.
They just-
But I remember we were alive. We were young, but when they just like, oh, we're closing doors. You're on your own, and just let them out in the
It
street.
wasn't that long ago. I think it said 2004.
That's
It
so
was
sad.
2004.
It's so sad.
I mean, they still have Riverview Psychiatric Facility, but it's far, far fewer beds.
Well,
I
yeah.
think I want to say they had like in the thousands, like 1,000 or so beds at one point, and now it's like 200
oh man, yeah.
or something like that.
But yeah, anyway, that's a promising one. It sounds like, well, it doesn't sound like, it says it's illegal. We can check to make sure that's the case, but we could also find out who actually owns it.
I know who would be, I think, in charge of
That might give us a
security and
pass.
that type of thing.
I mean, we can do, the whole production shtick. Like, we can sign complete waivers of
Right.
liability. Like, we were, clear them of all.
That would be actually a really
That'd be ridiculously cool content,
and
dude.
it's not logistically difficult to
Make
do
happen.
because it's not like an inn or something like that where you have to worry about, hey,
Guests
are you
and-
open?
Yeah.
I know the Carriage House, I believe, is closed now. They closed in 2014.
Okay.
So that somebody owns it. But then I also saw an article, I think 2018, where it was purchased.
Oh, cool. So it
but
might
was
be
purchased for like someone. There was a quote from a lady that, and then this article that was like apparently at the auction that said like this is an $800,000 property that sold for like 195 or something like that.
way undervalued.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
tells you what this is the burden, but also the strength of some of these myths is, number one, imagine depreciating a building, and that can't be the only reason it's not undervalued.
they mentioned something to do with rising heating oil costs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it needs a ton of a lot of work. It's an old place.
Building.
Yeah. But it certainly could be a factor, and it's like that does suck in that way, but also that's a promising business for someone that buys it that cheap and that can kind of railroad that point. Listen, this is haunted. You get a lot of enthusiasts. I mean, the paranormal community, as I'm finding looking into other shows, is big.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wonder, like, we both take a pretty skeptical stance, me more vocally so, it seems. We'll find out. I wonder how we'll be received, because a lot of these people like really believe in this stuff and they champion it hard. I think, well, we want it to be clear that we're not disregarding wholesale anyone's experience. We just can't speak dishonestly from our own. I mean, I can't pretend I believe in something I've never experienced, nor will I. But that's good, because you can trust when we're out in the field, we're not taps trying to get Discovery Network to sign us to another season. Like if we don't see something,
Taps are great.
no, they're I love
show.
them. Yeah,
I love that show.
And Jay and Grant are awesome. Kelsey's parents have hung with them a few times, but regardless, it's true. I mean, we're not selling that. We're not,
Right.
Our basis of viewership, whatever it ends up being, all three of you, we love you. But no, it's not going to be on fake, like we're going to edit in sounds that we hear, or we're going to pretend we see shit. We're the last two guys that are going to do that, which is cool. Maybe that's a breath of fresh air. Maybe people will like that.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know what I was going to say.
So we need to line up one of these. I think, what are we, 43 minutes? Yeah, we're coming to the end of this one. I think, like we said, we're holding accountable to, we're going to do an experience.
Yep.
By the time this is out, we will have done it. Whether that means that it's out yet or not is another thing, but it will be at least filmed and ready to go. And we will maybe try to grab and drag Nathan Francis out with us. That'd be fun to have more of a crew there.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I guess,
especially if it's something that's relatively easy to get to that we don't have to like spend the night at.
Well, right.
We essentially would anyway, but
yeah. Well,
that we don't,
I mean, we'd be there so late it wouldn't matter.
Right.
I mean, but I'm used to it. You're used to it. Nate will have to give some 5-hour energies and Red Bulls. Promo sponsorship. But
spoiler alert, we find out he has a sensitivity to caffeine.
Yeah, and we kill him on accident. We should do the stupid promo stuff that I hate, because we don't. Oh, here we go. I love when Steve's mind just riffs and you catch him in the middle of a thought. What happened? What happened in there?
I was just picturing like the camera panning over, and it's in IR, and it just pans over to Nate.
He's dead but smiling. He's like,
I wasn't thinking of sensitivity in that sense. I was thinking like he's just like he's just completely jacked,
dude. Can you imagine?
He's like tremoring. He's
Everyone, Nate thinks that we can't see him because it's pitch black, but it's in that mode, and he's bawling, scared, just completely. And you pan down, and he's wet himself and stuff, and he's playing off like it's so cool. He's like, I'm not even scared. Let's go. Let's just go, guys. Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, I hate you.
He knows we're messing with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I hate to do the promo thing, but we should. Again, me and Nate talked about this on our last episode. Like, we want people to listen that want to, and like that like minds, because I feel like it. It's a little Thrive Tribe.
And I don't think you have to be a skeptic to listen to it either, even though we're both skeptics.
No,
I mean,
like we said.
Like you said, it just boils down to like if we don't have anything, it's just a lack of an experience. It doesn't mean it's, absence of proof isn't proof of absence.
That's right. Yeah. And I think that is our point. But I don't know what platforms this is on yet. Again, if you're hearing it, it's on them. But whatever that platform is that you choose, feel free to follow, subscribe, whatever all these platforms. I don't know. Follow our playlist on Spotify,
subscribe.
Apple Music.
Yeah, follow, subscribe.
All that fun stuff. You guys know what you're doing. Because, we're going to bring you more content. Another idea, too, before we run. I think each episode, maybe we should read one story, one of us, from r/paranormal on Reddit. Pick a story and read it at the end. Do a little Reddit read. That'd be fun. There's a plethora of stories on there, so we'd have a lot of thick, good content. Easy. That's right. I know you thought that was going somewhere else.
I don't know where it would have gone, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But
what do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a something on locale, on a destination.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, just to inspire us to be a little bit creative and give us something to focus on and something fun to do while we're.
And again, I can't drive home the point enough. Probably only YouTube. This is a valid point. But drop us a comment. By the time you hear this, it's out. So
any suggestions? Any anything
a lead on something. If be fun. Maybe as we get into this farther, we could have like group meetups, searches. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
bring them in. Just make sure everyone that wants to be involved signs releases, not just for liability, but to be on, to be able to use commercially, have them on the show. That'd be a lot of fun. I think that wraps it up for this episode. We don't want to beat the dead horse because we don't want to deal with its sprightly little ghost. That's right. And you heard that.
I wonder if that's where you were going, but
yeah, you knew. Yep. You knew. I have been Daniel.
I've been Steve.
And this is PairONormies.